Okay, welcome to another episode of On the Game with the Wild Boy. Got me, Sam, and with me again is Ben.
Hey.
Hello. So, Ben, what have you been playing? Have you been playing anything?
Well, it won't surprise you, Sam, that I've been playing some Destiny.
Destiny. Straight off the bat.
Straight off the bat, we're into it. Yeah, I mean, so finally kind of played most of what House of Wolves has to offer now. Really kind of impressed, to be honest, compared to the first DLC pack. I mentioned on the previous cast that they've added a different mode called, what's it called? Prison of the Elders.
What's the mode's called?
Prison of the Elders. So it's effectively like
Firefight retirement home.
Horde mode. What? Hello?
Is it a retirement home?
Yes. Yeah. You've gone really quiet.
Oh, now?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so that's good fun. I've been playing that, although I'm kind of edging towards being over it again quite quickly already. So yeah, that's great. What else have I been playing? I popped in what's it called? Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. Have you played that?
Not the Definitive Edition, but I did. What's it? Just changing something. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna cut this out. So let me just sort this out. I've just realised why it's. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. Right, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, fine. Well, it was picking it up off my Mac rather than the thingy. So I'll tell you what. I might just start this again, and I'll just cut this whole intro bit.
Cool.
Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Game with the Wild Boar. Here with me is Ben.
Hey.
So Ben, what have you been playing? Is it Destiny?
It is Destiny.
I'm gonna have a think and try and guess the future. Is it something about people in a retirement home?
Mystic Sam repeating his own jokes. Yeah, Prison of the Elders. So I've kind of got around to playing some of that, and yeah, really enjoying it. It's kind of a new mode, a little bit like Firefight or Horde from Gears of War, that kind of thing. Really enjoyable. 3-person cooperative, like different waves of enemies, that kind of stuff. Yeah, wicked. Good addition. Good DLC, I suppose.
Is that you have to pay for that though, right?
I got it free as part of the original version of Destiny that I bought, but I think you probably have to pay for it. I'm not sure how long they'll keep this kind of DLC as paid for, because when we'll discuss E3, there's obviously a big DLC pack on its way, so I'm not sure whether that includes all of the stuff that's gone before. Yeah, we'll have to see, I suppose. Otherwise it starts becoming a bit disjointed. But yeah, we'll discuss that later. Definitive edition of Sleeping Dogs. So I played a bit of that. You played that before?
Yeah, so I played it when it came out, and I really liked it. It's like a stripped down almost Grand Theft Auto in Hong Kong, which is great. I mean, one of the things that might, not to jump the gun a bit, is that people are talking about maybe there's going to be a Sleeping Dogs 2 discussed next week.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I mean, I didn't think it was like, super amazing, especially at a time where, Grand Theft Autos were about, and obviously a lot more bigger. But I really enjoyed it, and I liked the DLC that came with it, where there's like zombie ones and stuff as well. But I mean, I believe it started off as the next edition of what was supposed to be the True Crime series.
Yeah, okay.
And they just turned it something completely different. But yeah, what did you think?
So I haven't got all the way through. I'm just kind of a few hours in, but I'm quite enjoying it. But there's a kind of big caveat which I'm finding annoying already, which is the fighting. It's got some good parts, and when it works, it's kind of quite satisfying. But a lot of the time, you do kind of. I'm finding it's missing kind of button presses, and you're pressing the button to counter, and it's missing, and you end up. Your health is so low that you kind of get KO'd by 2 kicks or whatever. So I'm finding it a bit kind of button mashy, which is not exactly great. It's a little bit like, I suppose in that respect, it's a little bit like the Batman games, where you can just kind of like stand there and mash at the keypad and get results, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends how long the game is. If it's going to be a long one, I'm going to have a look at online. If it's going to be a long one, then I'm really not interested. It's good, but I've got too many other things to play, probably. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. What else? Continuing Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but not finished
Which
it
one?
yet. The second one, Crimes and Punishments.
Crimes Punishment. Yeah.
Really enjoying it. Like it. There are 2 cases now whereby the translation from from whoever made it, I'm guessing they're a French company, into English, leaves a certain clue or a certain motive kind of leading you one way when in actual fact it's another. So that can kind of leave a sour taste in the mouth when you kind of come to guessing the final suspect and motive and all that.
Okay.
Because they point you in one direction very clearly, or kind of intimate that it's something is definitely in place. So in the 5th case, there's a there's a clue that states that a woman, because she's recording a scientific journal voice, she's recording a scientific voice journal. If she's recorded it, therefore she's in this room for the duration for like an hour and a half. Therefore she couldn't have been involved in the murders. Well, there's something that shouldn't have been so. How do you say that shouldn't have been so definitive in its assertion that she couldn't have done anything else, that couldn't have been recorded on another date or something like that. And it leads you down the path to thinking someone else is guilty when they're not.
Okay.
So it's kind of a little bit annoying that it's a very obvious kind of error that they haven't kind of corrected, and it's not in the gameplay. It's just in kind of their quality assessment, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing. How about you?
How about me? I finished The Order.
Okay.
Which
did you mention that last time?
I mentioned I was playing it.
Oh, okay.
But I finished it, and I'm going to be honest, it wasn't as short as what I thought it would. When people said it took like them only 5 hours, I mean, it didn't take me 5 hours. It probably took me about, all in all, probably about 7 or 8 hours, which is pretty standard. But then I was kind of going around and looking at stuff, but it felt really quick towards the end. The reason being, like the last 4 or 5, like there's 15 chapters or something, and the last 4 or 5 chapters are really super short. Like one of them is just a cutscene, pretty much. So, and it is a lot of like press forward, then press X and open the door, and it's another cutscene. And even though that kind of happens throughout the game, it happens a lot more towards the end. So, it's like it just feels a lot quicker. But I don't think it took 5 hours. I mean, I don't know how I can look how much time I clocked up, but it looks great, and I didn't mind the story or the characters, to be honest. And it was a bit of a crappy ending. It was okay. It was all right, but it's annoying because I felt like it had it all kind of there, and it was a really cool thing, but it wasn't executed wrong, just executed poorly. Like I don't mind doing the the quick time events. I'm not a massive hater of it. I know it's very tired kind of thing, but sometimes it does. Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, for me, I quite like watching the animations, and I'm kind of doing stuff with it, and it felt very smooth and fluid, and I don't mind it when it's like that. Rather than you press a button and it's like a different cutscene or whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, all the different cutscenes, the whole just scenes and bits of gameplay that just aren't needed. Like, you're walking from a table to a door, and then it's another cutscene, you finish the chapter or something, and you're like, yeah, come on, there's got to be a bit more. I don't feel personally invested into this whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
the guns were good. The shooting was okay. I mean, it's quite rare. Like there wasn't that much of it. I know there's people are moaning about the stealth. There's a stealth section. I know a lot of reviews were moaning about that because it's insta death. But to be honest, like through all the stealth stuff, I only got caught twice, and that was only because I got like lazy, basically.
You're quite a stealthy,
stealthy character
in real life.
Yeah, creeping. They call me the creep. So you know, when people are like, oh god, it was really annoying and stuff, it's like, you know, it's not that difficult really. It was just, it's pretty fucking, you know, it's not like Metal Gear Solid or something like that, or and even then that's not particularly difficult, but it's basically a big flashlight and you just go when the flashlight is off you and the guy's got his back turned. So if you can't do that, then, and you're moaning about that happening, then fucking, I mean, they couldn't go any slower, put it that way. And it's dark, so it's a flashlight, so you know exactly where everyone is. It's not like, oh, you know what's going to happen. But I genuinely thought it was okay. I did actually like it. I didn't love it, and I would never play it again. But for me, it was, if that was like a release game, I'd be like, that's pretty good. Like the same as like, no, it's just not. That's not fair to compare it to Rise, because Rise was very, you know, action focused. So you're constantly fighting throughout the whole thing.
Rise was a release game. Rise,
that's what I mean. Yeah, like if you had that, if
on day of release, not you know, not touted as like the next Gears of War, then delayed 6 months, and then, you know, released to disappointment.
No, that's what I mean. But if it was like PS4's Rise, so it did come out day one, same as Rise did, then I would think, yeah, that's pretty good. You know, it looks great and all this stuff. But because, as you said, yeah, it's released, yeah, however long, like a year into the fucking PlayStation cycle, and it doesn't feel like a full game. It feels more like a technical demo or something like that. Then yeah, it's a bit much, but it's not crap. It is a bit quick. It's not that quick. And I think if you picked it up for like, you know, 15, 20 quid or something, I don't think you, well, maybe you will be. Just, you know, if you rent games or whatever, or if you just see it on the cheap, do get it, because it's worth playing, but it's just not amazing. And annoyingly, that's what a lot of people thought it would be. So yeah, I played that. Been playing a lot of Witcher 3 still. Really getting into it now. And I just love, it's like, I know everyone says this, but like all the side quests and all these like little bits that you could just do and just wander around and stuff like that. And once you've got the because at first it's a lot with like, you got the magic spells and you got your different swords for fighting different people, and you got your potions and all this stuff. But once you I'm kind of getting my head around that now. And once you do, and once you've got those like those methods set into how you play, then the rest you can just enjoy the experience and the world that you've been placed in. And so I'm kind of coming into that now, where I'm knowing the basics, I'm knowing what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do things, and I'm just really like enjoying the little stories, like all the tiny little things and all the little like mini stories and mini arcs that are kind of going on. Yeah, it's really good. So I'm just going to keep banging away at that. And the other one I've played, which I finished, which was the new Game of Thrones Telltale episode.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but I would think it might be my favorite one yet.
What, episode 4?
Yeah, is it episode 4? Fucking hell, I've been ages. In terms of all the stuff that happens at King's, I mean, I won't spoil anything, but at King's Landing, you play one of the daughters, and up to this point, it's been very, very, like, you're just so pathetic, and it's been very boring, and you're trying to, you know, you're asking for help all the time, and you're this little miss, like, oh no, I don't know what to do, and I have to ask her to do this and help my family and stuff. And you're just like, oh gosh, she's so pathetic. And every time you play with her, it's like whatever. But in this episode, she's like, she's doing shit, she's getting shit done, and yeah, and like she's actually played like quite a strong character, and she's playing people off against each other and a little bit, and kind of getting a bit more into the politics of it all, and using her feminine wiles as well. So that's good. And yeah, and just generally everything's like starting to kick off a little bit. People are just getting a bit more brave, like, because you're kind of like under the thumb a little bit and like kick down like all the different characters, but now it's starting to like come up and you're starting to get stronger and things are starting to go your way a little bit. So that's kind of getting a bit more exciting. It's getting better. So I'm hoping the last I'm guessing 2 episodes. Has it always been 6? Pretty sure, isn't it? Is it 5?
Oh, maybe it's 5. Maybe. Oh, I had no idea. I've
no idea. I don't know either.
I think Wolf Among Us was. Oh shit! I don't even know. 5 or 6.
Yeah. It is 5 or 6 usually. I think maybe it is 5. Oh man. Well, I hope it's 6 because it's like I'd be. And now that it's just starting to get good, I don't want it to be suddenly over. But I mean, it's been all right. It's been an all right series, but it's not been great. It's been okay.
5 episodes. Wolf Among Us was 5 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's probably 5 then, because I think Walking Dead's were 5 as well.
I always thought it was one more than all the others, if that makes sense. When they initially released it, they think
Oh, really?
6. So let's have a look.
Let's check Google. Okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google. Why? Oh, why? Oh, why?
Yeah, it's going to be 6 episodes.
Okay, good. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of that when that comes out.
Cool.
And hopefully, it's not going to be too fucking. And the thing is with these, because I play them episode by episode, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, oh, I forgot about this, or yeah, that bit. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, cool. We've done that. So obviously
that's done.
That is done. So the big thing coming up is E3. Bam, bam, bam.
Tomorrow.
Do you know anyone that's going?
Pardon?
Do you know anyone that's going personally?
No, unfortunately. I think we should go.
I know.
Not this year. Next year. Let's do it.
Try and go next year. Well, because I've got this new job now. Gaming is associated with it. Nice. So the guy who sits opposite me has gone to E3. He's there now. So I'm kind of hoping somehow I can wangle my way into going.
Yeah, nice. Anyway, right. So your choice. Which platform / who do you want to go with first?
Well, I tell you what. Isn't Bethesda's one tonight?
Yes, I think it starts. Everything starts tomorrow.
But I thought Bethesda had one.
No, they had like a test, which we'll get into. I guess we're going to do Bethesda first, then. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just. I just thought because they had one tonight, but
okay.
For E3. But
there is genuinely so much we're going to have to kind of skim through a lot of it, but yeah, let's tackle it. So Bethesda first. They announced Fallout 4 the other day or last week.
So are you excited about Fallout 4? Have you done any others?
I have not done any others, but having seen the trailer, I think I would definitely play it. It looks great, basically.
Because to me, I've played Fallout. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've played the first 6 hours of Fallout 3. I don't know why I never went back to it. I think I kept dying, and it just got annoyed. But yeah, and it feels like looking at the Fallout 4 demo, it just feels like Fallout 3 again.
It does seem a lot more colourful, because my problem with why I never really got into Fallout 3, I mean, I actually own it. I think it's still in its cellophane. Was that it just is all kind of green and brown, and it didn't look all that kind of interesting to get into. This one looks a lot more colourful, and I know that paints me as a simpleton who must be amused by different colours. But it does look more interesting visually than what I assumed Fallout 3 was. But it is another kind of commitment to many long hours of gaming to pick it up. But I'm interested in playing it, so that yeah. I'll give it a go.
I think I'll do 3 first. I'll finish 3 on the old PlayStation 3, and then I'll move on to 4 if I feel the inclination to.
Okay, cool. And then by mistake, they announced, although basically this is their first presentation they've had, or their first stand at E3, where they've had a press conference to themselves, on their own. So everyone assumed that obviously if they're doing that, then they've got a long form demo for Fallout 4, but then presumably some other games as well. One of those games people were speculating, although it's now leaked, with one of the executives on a test Twitch stream last night. He left his mic on while it should have been turned off, and then leaked the existence of Dishonored 2. So that's definitely happening, apparently.
Great, I can't wait for that.
So I haven't played Dishonored 1 yet, to be honest. So
yeah, you're not missing out, don't worry.
You weren't keen, were you?
No, I will finish it. I just like just can't be bothered with all that. But sorry, that's no
I
no
mean,
to people like it.
that's definitely a theme that I'm getting from you, Sam, is that you're not bothered by Bethesda games.
I'm not. I just don't.
Did you not play Skyrim?
I did again. I did for a bit, but I've never really done any of the Elder Scrolls thing. They just all feel like this is gonna sound bad, but like shitty PC games that I played like when I was a kid, and they're just like a little bit better. I don't know. I know it's really. I don't have a. I don't have a particular problem with it. It's just stuff like having to move your little dot to like an ammo pack and press X to pick it up. It's like, oh, fuck off. You run over it and pick it up. Why do I have to look exactly directly right at it and press a button to pick that up?
I think that's the problem with many games, not just Bethesda games.
No, but they're still doing it. Like you still have to do that for fucking Wolfenstein.
Yeah, true. You did feel like you were spamming the X button, didn't it? Pick this up, pick this up.
Oh god, just like get on with it. And it's not like a purist thing.
But there was to be fair, there was a lot of that. That was probably my main criticism of Bioshock. Was so much of that. Like pick up the ammo, press X, right? Okay, go for it. Right, fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind if you're pressing X when you're near it or something like that. But if I remember rightly, maybe I'm wrong, but you had to look exactly at it. I don't know. It just doesn't. It never excites me basically. And just Dishonored, where it's like you could go through any way you want. You know, you could do stealthy, or you could just go and attack in, and you'll kind of do stuff, and then someone will shout something, and then there was that whole thing. Remember when I got trapped in that loop where I ran out into like another section, and then they kept respawning me, and the evil guys would just keep coming back and killing me coming through. So I had to get out of this, and that was my save. That's my save point. And I was like, well, I don't want to go all the way back. And people go like, oh, you should have kept multiple saves. Fuck that. That's a fucking broken game.
I've had that before with Oblivion. My save corrupted, and I was like, whatever, like 150 hours in, and I hadn't really realised. But I mean, I suppose the good thing to the good thing to their kind of like open world games that if you want to drastically reduce the time it takes for you to get through them, you do have a difficulty slider that is far more kind of complex and powerful than just the normal kind of easy, medium, hard kind of thing. You can basically put it down to ridiculously easy settings in order to let you kind of breeze through the it sounds awful, doesn't it? But you can breeze through the story. So say in Skyrim, if you're having trouble, or if you keep on kind of entering dungeons whereby you're getting absolutely rinsed because you shouldn't be there, well then if you want to kind of remove that as a gameplay element and just make it easier for you to get through the really long story and all the factions and all that, if you actually want to play it rather than actually having to kind of really worry about how strong you are all the time and make it all of that, and I realize that's a core part of the game, but you can just kind of remove that as an impediment by putting the difficulty slider way down and enjoy it for the story and just for the messing around really, which is pretty much what I did by the time I'd finished. Well, by the time I'd kind of got to the point where I am with Skyrim, which I think is probably about 2/3 of the way through, I think.
Okay.
You can just kind of slide the difficulty to a non-compete setting and just play the game rather than worry about it so much. Yeah, so I mean that's Bethesda, I suppose. So it doesn't sound like you're too bothered by Bethesda. So pick another.
Yeah,
pick another.
Pick another. Well, one thing I was going to say. Do you think there'll be another Wolfenstein? Do you think they'll announce it?
Well, they've got to fill a presentation, haven't they? So is it going to be just 2 games? I can't really think off the top of my head what other kind of games Bethesda.
Is it Doom? Is that Bethesda?
I think it might have been. Well, look.
Well, let's see. Well, any of those would be good.
They did an Evil Within.
Huh?
They did Evil Within. They've obviously got Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
It's too soon for a next gen Skyrim because they usually take 3 or 4 years to.
Maybe they might announce it coming 2050 or something.
Yeah. Normally they just concentrate, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they just concentrate on what they've got at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what else they'd have, but yeah, they've got to fill they've got to fill something. So Doom is there, Evil Within, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Dishonored.
Yeah, that's probably enough.
Yeah, but that's only enough if they've got DLC for other things, or if they've got new Doom or Evil Within games. But Evil Within only came out this year, so maybe there's DLC for that.
Yeah, I think they've released all the DLC that they had already announced. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's go on to well, let's do your favorite, which is probably Microsoft.
Right. Okay. So, sorry. So going through the games. They've announced that there's a few games that everyone thought were going to be shown at E3 that they're not going to show, which kind of puts the question in my mind: how much have they got that they're kind of pushing these games out? But either way, so Quantum Break, I mean, there's already announced that it's going to be a 2016 game, but they're not showing at E3 apparently. They're going to show more of that at Gamescom, which means that they're kind of splitting their conferences to new content in Gamescom as well, which is something we're starting to see last year and this year. So Crackdown and Scalebound, both of which are not going to be shown at E3, they're going to be shown at Gamescom. So Scalebound, I wasn't so worried about. I mean, it was a cool hipster with fucking headphones battling dragons and stuff.
Is that guy?
It might be a good game because I can't remember the studio behind it, but it's some kind of well-renowned Japanese studio. I can't remember. It could well be good. Just judging purely the headphones alone are enough to put me off, really, to be honest. It just annoys me. Like, why? Just to make it cool and relatable to kids, he's got headphones. Oh, right. Okay.
Japanese stuff.
Fuck's sake.
Let them keep it weird. Let them do weird stuff.
But Quantum Break looks amazing, and Crackdown, I just, they can have my money now for a new Crackdown game. I don't need to really see any more of it.
Does that mean pre-order? You could pre-order it.
I'm not going to pre-order it.
You can have my money now for that game. Pre-order?
I'm not pre-ordering it. Yeah, but I mean, it's just that kind of game I know I'm going to play. Like Crackdown is, both of them have been hilarious fun. I mean, Crackdown 2 wasn't as good as Crackdown 1, but yeah, it was. Did you play either of them?
I did a tiny bit of the first Crackdown, but I did play Crackdown 2 for a while, and yeah, I liked it. It wasn't I couldn't be bothered. It was just one of those games where I was like another massive open sandbox thing. Yeah. I was playing too many of those at the time, and so it just kind of fell by the wayside.
I would say in its defense, it's not as time intensive as, say, well, what I expect Sleeping Dogs and GTA and all that to be. It's one of these games where you can breeze through a lot of it because it's kind of pick up and put down. You're not going to be tied in for like an hour. Whenever you pick it up, you can just do 10 minutes and run around and cause chaos. And I think that's the kind of good angle that Crackdown 1 especially had, that you can just create these absolute, riots just pretty quickly, really, to be honest. Yeah, good fun. Anyway, right. So on to the games they are showing. So Forza 6, that's big for them. The new Tomb Raider, and obviously with Uncharted 4 moving out to 2016 as well, they've kind of got that space for new content anyway. They've got them to themselves, really, that kind of third-person adventure thing. Halo 5.
Can't wait.
You are?
Can't wait. New Tomb Raider. The last one. It's great.
I didn't play the last one, but yeah, that's cool. Halo 5, that's obviously tentpole kind of stuff. So that's their three kind of main.
Nathan Fillion back in it, apparently.
Really? In Halo 5?
Yeah, well, apparently he was in ODST as well. And
yeah, no, he was. He was the main guy. Yeah.
So
just released ODST as a free download for anyone that played and had problems with the Master Chief Collection, or for $3.99 basically as an add-on.
Yeah.
So maybe there's an announcement to do with Reach, which is my personal favorite Halo game. I know that some people wouldn't agree, but it's the only one without the flood, and obviously it's Bungie's last one, which was kind of where they'd honed all of the mechanics down to a fine art at that point.
Yeah, I really liked Reach. It's good.
I thought Reach was fantastic. So yeah, Halo 5. That's another game that's locked in 100%. I'm going to play that. So then there are more. There's whatever they're working on with Minecraft. I'd imagine that, having spent $2 billion on acquiring Minecraft, what are they going to announce? Presumably they're going to announce something for Minecraft. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be as simple as Minecraft 2, because you don't want to alienate a lot of their kind of user base, and they want to keep it on as many devices as possible and keep it as simple as possible, so that it can still be played on phones and tablets and low grade PCs and whatever, so that it still maintains its popularity. So maybe it's like incremental kind of packs that you can add on that create story, or add new functionality or whatever. I don't know. Almost certainly, I think we'll hear about the Telltale game with Minecraft.
Yeah.
Nothing's been seen about that yet, and you would imagine that something's got to happen with that. So effectively, that's Minecraft story mode with Telltale. I've no idea how that's going to look or play out, but Telltale usually make pretty good offerings.
Hmm.
Yeah, should be right. On to Gears of War. There's been patent leaks on a remastered version of it. So I don't know whether that's 1 through 3 in one pack, but that seems to be the kind of new standard, really. I mean, if you're going to be competing in the market against kind of the Master Chief Collection, although it's had problems at launch, in terms of a value proposition, four Halo games in one package with all the online modes remastered and active again online. Remastering just one game would probably seem a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be a natural progression for them to do that with Gears. But I mean, do you think there'll be a new Gears game?
Well, that's the thing. So there is that they are definitely working on a new Gears game. So do they announce it? If I can't see, I mean, it'd be a bit cheeky for them to announce a full price release of a remastered Gears of War 1 game on its own. So the only way that turns into a full price release is if it's 1 through 3, or unless it's like a DLC release. And they may do the thing of, this is available now, and in 2016, here's Gears 4 coming out. Here's what it looks like, and they drop, they drop both kind of bombs on you at once. That's highly probable. I would find it difficult to think that they can release both this year.
Yeah.
Although I think they've had enough time to have made Gears 4 now, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I
I
would
mean,
be surprised if
how long since Judgment?
must be about 3 years,
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah, so maybe I mean, that could be that's potentially an area for surprise where people don't really understand what's going on, and it hasn't leaked exactly what shape their Gears of War showings at E3 are going to be around, but they haven't said it's not going to be there. So you can, by kind of reverse detective method, you could work out that it is going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, other games, so expect them to demo and show is it Spite more, which is their a MOBA type offering.
I don't know.
Doesn't really bother me too much, but yeah, that'll be there. Fable Legends will be there. Got to imagine that's going to be out this year or early next. Elite, that's coming out on Xbox One, so I'd imagine that they're going to be demoing that. And there's a new Rare game which no one really kind of is sticking the neck out as to what it's going to be. I've heard some people say it's going to be some kind of new IP platformer.
Okay.
Some people think it could be Battletoads, and some people think it could be a new Viva Pinata.
I mean, I love Battletoads, the original,
really?
but I can't. I loved it in the fact that I can remember liking it as a kid. I'm sure if I went back to it now, it wouldn't be that great. But
Yeah,
I don't like just taking that and just being like, oh, we're going to make a whole. It's like, no, just leave it. Just leave it be that. Like, what are you going to do that's going to make it so amazing? I don't know. Maybe they will. I've no idea. Maybe they'll make it great.
exactly. So there's something new from Rare, and I think that will be quite popular. Because Rare make good games generally, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that'll be that. In terms of other things they'll be showing, it's quite probable, although it's kind of leaked already, but they'll be showing the new controller, which goes on sale this week. So that's finally got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack straight into the back of the controller to kind of
bothered.
what PS4's got. The thing that people don't mention is that I know that the headphone adapter is quite annoying to have to go and actually buy, but it is useful because it can control your mute and volume on the controller. So if you're having, if you want to mute it, you don't have to go into the menus and mute your controller. You can just do it if you're going to be coughing down the mic or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's quite useful to have that on the thing, on the controller. So they'll be releasing a new Xbox with 1 terabyte, I would imagine. I'm not sure whether, would you think that PlayStation are going to release something, a new SKU for a bigger hard drive, a new offering?
Yeah, they may do. Just to kind of, I don't know, if they really wanted to like smash it, they could do like a 2 terabyte or something like that, just to really fuck with Microsoft. And there's no reason why they can't do that.
There's less incentive for them to do it because of the way they designed it. This is the reason why some people think they're not going to bother with that. They don't need to, because basically people can just buy the PS4 and replace the drives.
Actually, good point. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's an easy thing to go and do. With Microsoft Xbox One, you can't do that.
No.
It's a proprietary kind of unit and it's built in, so you can't go and just replace the drive and then the operating system will build itself around it.
Typical fucking Microsoft.
Jesus.
Classic.
Wow.
Well, it's true though. But to be honest, Sony used to do that all the time, but not so much these days.
More likely that'd be Sony, because they're usually the people that do proprietary
that's what I mean,
things like that. So usually, not to try and turn it into fanboy wars, but if you look at the Vita, like the memory sticks on the Vita, why couldn't that just be an SD card? Oh no, it has to be a proprietary Sony Vita memory card that's only ever going to be used for the Vita. What the hell is UMD about? Well, that was PSP and no one ever used it ever again. And Sony are usually the people that do proprietary things. It just so happens this is not a proprietary thing, it's just a built-in thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, rolling adverts there, that's fine. So another thing expect them to announce or to show more of is Oculus Rift. They've shown that, or Oculus had a press conference this week gone showing the kind of final retail version. They haven't announced pricing, but they have shown that you can stream Xbox One games to the Oculus Rift if it's set up on a PC somewhere, and with Windows 10. So I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of or a section showing how Microsoft or Xbox One integrates with Windows 10. I think that'd probably be a bit of a mistake. Some of the features can be interesting, but ultimately it's not. I'm just a bit worried that maybe that's something they focus on too much to the detriment of people that aren't going to really care about integrating with Windows 10 and with.
Well, I think. Sorry, just to go off a little bit. I think Microsoft are really pushing PC games and stuff generally this year. If I remember rightly, Phil Spencer's going to do something PC wise at E3. I don't know whatever, but with integrating Windows, with working with Oculus, I think that's a real that could lead up to be a game changer. I know you can use like an Xbox controller now, Xbox One controller, I should say.
Yeah, they've announced that the new Oculus comes shipped with an Xbox One controller.
Yeah. So I think that's really super interesting, because everyone's been like, Oculus is going to be for like high power PCs and something, but maybe they might wangle something with Xbox One or something, because Microsoft haven't got a VR unit announced or anything like that. They did their augmented reality thing, whatever that was called.
Well, so that's HoloLens, which I don't think also gets there's potential there for them to show more of that this year. Maybe they leave it to GDC or something, but if they've got time, maybe they show more of the kind of integration, which would kind of melt the internet probably of the way that AR lens worked with Minecraft. I don't know if it's a demo, but I have,
so it looks cool. It's like, I think VR, both talking, both silence. I was going to say, I think that this year will be very integral for VR to like show off what they're going to do. Hopefully, like some actual games. There's been quite a few. I can't think of any titles off the top of my head, but I think there's been a few like Oculus games kind of been announced or teased or something like that, and like a lot of studios saying they're working on something for VR and all this. So I'm hoping this E3 is going to be like the proper start of like how VR will work, because there's Oculus has now shown they've got those like touch control things, if you've seen them, which look, I was looking at it and I think they look quite ergonomic. Is that the word I'm looking for? And I was thinking that's really super interesting. But for me, this E3, if I've hope they'll show a lot of VR stuff, and I really think it will play a very key role into whether or not it's something that will actually, for gaming at least, be a must-have component to any kind of gaming experience.
Well, my question is, so obviously they're going to show Morpheus because Sony are going to show Morpheus. We'll come on to that in a bit, but that looks like they've announced it had a early 2016 or
Q1.
first half of 2016 release. So you would imagine they're going to have to show some of it this E3, and especially since Oculus have gone stepped out first and shown their kind of final retail version and how it works. But I'm not sure how Oculus works with Xbox One. They've shown that you can stream games, which isn't the same thing, effectively meaning you've got a big 2D screen on your face, but it's not in the same kind of aspect of moving your head around. So if I saw a demo of it, I couldn't quite grasp how it worked, but basically it's, imagine you get a 3D projection of yourself sitting in a larger room with a larger TV, but the TV is still kind of in front of you at all points on a kind of flat 2D plane, and you can move your head around and look around the room, but that doesn't change where the TV is. So you can do that. You can stream Xbox One games that way via PC. But my question is there a VR application for Xbox One whereby you can plug the Oculus into Xbox One and get the the kind of 3D immersion of VR?
Well, this is it.
One game that you are apparently going to be able to get from Morpheus. Now, the question there is whether, if they're having to connect, and this is something I don't understand, and happy to take questions and input from other people on this, but as in, do either of the consoles have enough processing power to do that properly? And you would imagine that they do. If otherwise, Sony, why are they pursuing Morpheus? And Morpheus comes with a third party, or sorry, not third party, effectively like a processing block that sits outside in between the PS4 and Morpheus that does a lot of the processing for you. So is there going to be a Microsoft equivalent of that to make Xbox One work with Oculus? Or are they not even bothering with VR? Or are they kind of just waiting to see how it pans out?
Well, that's it. That's the question. That's why, I think already these little hints of, there's obviously been conversations between Microsoft and the Oculus guys in the first place for these kind of little bits to happen. I'm just very interested in where that'll go. I mean, they could really, at E3, if they pulled something like that out of the bag, and we're like, this Oculus thing, well, we're going to have it. Because Oculus, even though Morpheus it's still doing the rounds, and obviously you got the Steam one and all this stuff, and there's starting to become loads of more and more like VR units being announced. Oculus is still like the one that's been tested and retested and taken its time with it to do it properly, which for me shows that the final product will be perhaps the best, or at least the most tried out and tested VR experience. Not saying that Morpheus won't be, but if Microsoft can hop onto that Oculus thing with Facebook and Zuckerberg and everything, that could be a game changer for Xbox One in the future.
That's the thing. So if you've got two standards, and we've seen this over the last few years with, say, Blu-ray and all this kind of thing. If you've got two standards competing against each other, usually it's the one with the wider adoption or the quicker adoption that makes that wins out, basically. And if you think about Oculus, it was the plucky little upstart until it got bought out for $2 billion by Facebook. But there are far wider applications for VR than just gaming. Video conferencing, your holiday experiences, life experiences, just generally kind of piped in. Apparently, one of the big I hadn't even considered it, but one of the big drivers for VR, and one of the big markets that they think is going to be, or that people are thinking is going to be a big driver for people buying and picking up VR headsets, is porn.
Yeah.
So if you film porn in
You
this,
told me that when they announced VR, you hadn't even thought about that.
no, honestly, I hadn't even thought about that. Honestly,
Fucking bollocks.
honestly, I'd be the first to admit if I'd have thought about that. I hadn't even crossed my mind. Um,
Jesus.
so
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, there's that, but I mean, where does a lot of that kind of like ecosystem come from? You know, the development for games and applications, it comes from the PC market. And if they've got Oculus as the kind of de facto VR headset that's integrated with PC indie games, with Steam, with all that kind of stuff, I mean, that's a powerful thing, a powerful market for them straight off the bat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of indie games that we're playing that come to PS4, come to Xbox One, then they're not like designed straight for those consoles at launch. They've been on PC. Most of them have been on PC originally, and then made their way onto onto those platforms. So yeah, I mean, my biggest question is how it works with the consoles, really, because that would probably be my gateway into playing it. I'm not interested straight away in building a new PC to be able to handle the processing for one of these things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I think it's going to be, yeah, I'll be happy. Basically, VR will be one of the things I think will be key in this year's E3. As you said, especially if everything's coming out early 2016. You know, let's see. That's going to be extremely interesting for me, because it's like I love all that, and I think it really could be like the future if it's done right and if it's done properly. Yeah, it's exciting times.
Cool. So let's move on to Sony. That took far too long to go through Microsoft, although we did encompass a few other bits as well. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So Sony, what do we think they're going to be showing? They're definitely not going to be showing Uncharted 4, but they will be. Well, sorry, it's not going to be released this year, so they might be showing. They might be showing
like a trailer or something, I reckon.
But that will obviously lead into the Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah.
So I mean, I couldn't be less bothered by that. I mean, it's great that they're remastering things, if people want it, but ultimately I think I'm completely over remastered games. Not that I was ever that interested in it. I'd rather they just kind of cut loose and actually concentrated on new stuff. And at this point, remastered games, unless they're kind of fan service stuff like the Master Chief Collection, whereby you're adding functionality, online functionality that never existed in the first place, it's really kind of just it's really kind of stopgap to hold people off and the hype machine off until they can actually get the games they've been hyping for years ready.
Yeah, I mean, the Uncharted games are pretty good anyway. I mean, I did them all when they came out, and then about 2 years ago, I did all three of them again back to back, because I was mainly because I wanted to see if 2 was as good as I remembered it being, and it was. It's still the best out of the series by far.
I would have said 2 was. I think.
Yeah, 2 is definitely, especially playing them back to back now. But would I go back again just to do them in HD? I don't think so. It depends. I mean, I bet they'll look really, really nice, but I've just got too many games. I've played those games, all of them, twice now.
There's too much else out there, and as we see as we go through the rest of these presentations, like at E3, there's too much on my plate at the moment to play. Let alone the stuff that's coming out this year. To go back and play, they're great games, but I wouldn't say they had replay value, especially because it's fun, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't play single player games unless there were maybe. I think the only single player games I've ever played more than once were maybe Mass Effect and the original BioShock. I think.
Right. I mean,
that was it.
If you've only done the Uncharted trilogy the once, I would say it was good going back and playing them again. I did really enjoy it, but I wouldn't do it a third time, so I'm not going to do it. But if they look really good and massive substantial improvements and whatever, then go for it, because it'll probably be be great to do, but I won't be doing it.
So in terms of what would normally be classified as AAA games, Sony doesn't have that much in their lineup this year, which leads you to believe they're either going to go one of two ways, or probably both. They're going to have exclusivity deals for DLC and kind of linked, what's the term, like best experienced on PS4, that kind of stuff.
That stuff.
They're going to have that kind of like marketing deals with with certain suppliers. So we know that there's not going to be any Titanfall 2 announcement at E3.
Oh, do we?
That's apparently one of the, what's his name, Zampella and West have come out and saying it's not ready to be shown like at E3. So so it's not going to be that. I don't know if it could be Call of Duty, because I think their thing with Microsoft has like come to an end. They could go large on Destiny 1.5, which will be shown at E3.
1.5.
Or well, I'll get into what it is. I'll explain what it is when we get to the Activision part. So there's that kind of exclusivity, kind of best partnered with angle, which they might go large on. And then there's the kind of what you would term as more indie games. In between that, there's a very real chance that maybe this is the year, Sam, for
Last Guardian.
This year. I think people would lose their shit if they do finally announce it, even if there's been rumblings that some senior Sony techs are now involved on the project, and that finally it's actually making progress. So maybe they announce it. Whether it comes out this year, I don't know. It would seem unlikely if they're only announcing it this year that it comes out straight away. But then if it looks like their presentation's in need of some kind of content, then maybe they do drop it as a drop the mic kind of moment. Yeah, here's The Last Guardian, and by the way, it's out this year. People would lose their mind. Yeah, definitely.
Imagine if they said it'll be out, or it's available in stores now, or from next week, or something like that.
Yeah, that would be immense.
They'd be talking about that for years afterwards.
Yeah,
That's good.
exactly. But that would be great if that's there. In terms of other games, then the two kind of there's Tearaway PS4 version, which I'd imagine there'll be
Great. Yeah.
But I mean, I played on Vita. It kind of made a lot more sense on Vita.
Exactly, it's a Vita game. I mean, all right, they might have done stuff to use it with the PS4, but it's Vita, so
yeah.
I don't know why
I'm not sure I'd play it, to be honest. Because it was it was fun, but
done.
It's not going to be as good, I don't think, because it's designed for Vita, really. And then there's two games which I think are genuinely exciting, but they are more your kind of indie games. So there's Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which is apparently announced that it's going to be out in August this year. So I imagine Sony are going to go heavy on this during their presentation. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I didn't know any release date or anything like that, but that'd be good if they show it.
So that's wicked. So people check that out. And then No Man's Sky. So there's not been anything about No Man's Sky for ages, basically.
That's because they've realized they haven't got a game; they've just got a tech demo.
Oh wow, bitterness.
Look, you can go anywhere. Okay, and then what you do?
Sam needs to be told what to do at all times. Let's not get into this argument again.
No, I don't mind immersive, like ambient gameplay or something, but what's the game? Oh yeah, look at this stuff, and you can go anywhere.
Exploration, Sam. That's the game. Jesus.
But why don't I just explore the real world?
Well, go and do it then. Don't sit in making a podcast.
Trying. I'm too busy talking about No Man's Sky.
Jesus Christ.
By some twats in Guildford.
Wow.
Twats.
For record, I completely disagree with you. This looks like the most amazing game I've ever seen in my life.
If I don't want, okay, it does look like an amazing experience. Where's the game?
Oh my God.
What is it?
I think this is you being difficult for the sake of it.
Just asking questions, Ben.
I'm just asking questions.
I have the freedom to just ask questions.
So then What else are they going to show? Persona 5 potentially.
Oh, fucking hell, that'd be great. Would it be great? I don't know if it's something I could play on a console because it just felt right that when I played Persona 4 on Vita.
Yeah, I mean, I think originally they see it as a, and this comes into a discussion for general themes of what they're going to show, what we think Sony are going to be kind of pushing. I think they see it as because Persona 4 was a PS2 game, was it not? Something like that. So they see it as a console game. So if Persona 5 comes out and they're pushing it for PS4, then they see it as a console game. And would they necessarily worry about whether it's going to come out on Vita? I don't know. Are they worried about Vita at all? Probably not anymore. I mean, it seems like they see it as a periphery for people to be able to play PS4 on their toilet or whatever, which is just complete nonsense because A, that's not really something a normal human being does, and B, like there's so much more to it, like playing all the indie games, like when you're actually out and about, to save you have to play on TVs and stuff. It's fantastic. It's such a shame that they're doing that. So that's a question really, is what do you think they're going to show of Vita at their conference? Probably literally they did nothing last year with it.
Yeah, I don't know what could there be.
Yeah, exactly. And then do they show any new SKUs, any new price points or packages for the PS4? If it's selling so well continually, do they need to? They probably don't need to put new drives in it. Maybe they offer one as standard.
I just don't think they do anything. They just leave it.
I think they're going to push PS Now even further. Maybe some announcements around that. The beta, as it's released in Europe, has not been getting good reviews. Not from a tech demo, because apparently that's actually quite solid. Playing the experience of playing games online is actually streaming games online is actually all right for certain types of games, but more for the price of things. And the library is exclusively PS3 games and PS4 indie games.
So not much.
Oh, sorry, not even PS4 indie games. So just absolute rubbish, basically. And who's going to be interested in that? Not really anybody. And that kind of leads into whether Microsoft bother with showing and showcasing EA Access, which is the same kind of thing but with modern games on Xbox One. They've now kind of gone into a marriage of convenience, because Sony basically turned down having EA Access on PS4 because they're developing PS Now. Well, are they developing PS Now to actually have modern games on it? Presumably that's got to be the next step. Otherwise, who the fuck is going to care about playing PS2 and PS3 games? No, is anyone really?
Yeah, that you could just go down and probably buy for £1 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd expect them to push that, and then the other thing they're going to push is Morpheus. Are they going to show a price? Are they going to show any tech demos? Are they going to show like which games it's going to work with? Any kind of information are they going to release at E3? I would imagine, judging by the lineup of games that we know are exclusively Sony for this year, what's their presentation comprised of? I would imagine.
I mean, it'd be great if they did. If they were like, "Here's the Morpheus. Here's how much it is, and here's a whole bunch load of fucking great games that are going to come out or that will be announced or will be available day one or something like that."
Yeah.
And you can try them right now. Bam.
Yeah, right now.
Go downstairs and check them out or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in terms of looking over the lists, there's not really that much that seems to be exclusive for Sony. I'm not sure what they're going to. I mean, they've got more than enough to fill their time with, but and they're selling, like hotcakes, aren't they? So they're probably not actually that worried. Maybe they just go large on what Uncharted 4 is going to be next year, and kind of stoke the hype train. But if they have got No Man's Sky and Last Guardian for this year, then that kind of goes a long way to filling the hole. I'm sure that the Nathan Drake collection will sell well, but I mean, it's not interesting, is it? Realistically,
no. It's they can't fucking push that as one of their main things at E3. Jesus.
Yeah, and if they do, then it kind of says a lot, doesn't it? Really. Let's move on to someone else. Pick a developer that's got a big presentation.
Go on, let's do Activision.
Okay, so one of the things I expect them to partner with, maybe the exclusivity deal that runs out in autumn prevents them from doing it, but maybe they renew it and carry on, is Destiny. So Destiny 1.5 or Destiny 2, whatever you want to call it, it's a DLC pack that might come on disc as well, but it's called the Taken King. That's got a September release for the game, and apparently it's approximately half the size of the original Destiny game. Again, as DLC, so you're talking of a couple of strikes, a new raid, and 15 or so missions, and then a raising in the level cap, new items, all of that kind of associated stuff. There's absolutely no details on it other than the name, and from the name you can kind of assume that the theme is the hive enemy, which is my kind of least favorite of the lot because they're the most like zombies and they just run at you. Ugh, Bob. But it seems to be the one they like the most, because there's already one of the DLCs that was focused on that enemy. It was based on that, was the first DLC.
Okay.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see the price point. I'd imagine it's going to be kind of $40, £25, that kind of area, and how much content and how it's going to be delivered. If it can be delivered digitally only, that's quite an interesting model, and that kind of fits with the idea that some people had of the way they're releasing Destiny in their 10-year plan. So if they've got 2 DLCs already for the game, and they've got this major plan coming out for a DLC in September, and then 2 more before going into kind of holidays and spring next year, then where does it end? Do they just kind of keep on incrementally releasing content for it so that it kind of keeps people playing almost constantly throughout the year? It's quite an impressive feat. But you'd have to see how much content is involved in it and whether they make some improvements that are kind of sorely needed. They have addressed some of them in the recent DLC packs. So yeah, we'll see. So Call of Duty Black Ops 3, we know that's a thing that's coming out. So I'd expect them to go big on that during Activision. And I'm not sure what else from Activision. They're the 2 kind of main tent poles of their announcements.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Black Ops 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, I've done them all. I've done all the Call of Duties for like fucking forever.
Yeah, but I don't. It's just kind of a game that I kind of assume that I'm going to spend 10 hours playing, and then send back, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this is
forget about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it in terms of I'm hoping that basically whether or not I get any future Call of Duties is going to be based on this Call of Duty. Same as Assassin's Creed, actually. I don't think I think this will be my last, because it's London. I would have made, if it had been anywhere else but London, I wouldn't have bothered this year. But I'll get this Assassin's Creed and all this. But if it's really crap, then I will probably not bother with Assassin's Creed again, unless something amazing comes up. And the same goes with Call of Duty. I can't just keep getting these every year.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree. I basically, after that experience with the with Black Flag, I couldn't be rimmed with another Assassin's Creed, and I didn't even bother with Unity because it just, having read like a lot of the stuff about it and watched.
Well, I didn't mind Black Flag, so if you hated that, then
I mean, Black Flag was it was a great pirate sim. It's not an assassin game. Like they haven't addressed anything of the actual game, the climbing, the fighting, the missions, anything like this. It's all exactly the same as all of the previous Assassin's Creed games, but with a really fun kind of pirate game strapped on top of it, which is nothing to do with being an assassin. And that part was fun, but I mean, if you're thinking about it from, okay, right, they've removed the ship element. Am I going to go and play Assassin's Creed Unity, which is basically the core Assassin's game of running, fighting, climbing again? Am I going to go and play that? No. Like, what have they done? Like in Black Flag, they hadn't addressed any of it. It sounds like they hadn't really addressed any of it in Unity. I just wasn't bothered.
Yeah,
but you're right. Yeah, it's London. I'm going to play it.
It's London.
Anyway, right, sorry. To finish off Activision, they're definitely going to show Guitar Hero live. Are you bothered?
Yeah. I mean, not too bothered about Guitar Hero. I'm bothered about Rock Band. I mean, a lot of people said it is just basically the same kind of thing. But I'm going to see what it's like, and I mean, as you know, I was very much into Guitar Hero and Rock Band and stuff like that. But do I want to go back and do it again and do all that? It would have to be pretty good to make me want to get out all the old stuff, all the old kit and all this stuff, and play all that again. And I'm just not, they're like, oh, it's like real life crowds and you can do this, and it's like the real stage experience. It's like
a return to the stop motion, or sorry, not stop motion, the full motion video games where you do something and then get a clip.
Yeah. I don't mind that, but there's that part of me that's just like thinking, shouldn't I be doing actual band, like real band, like my band stuff, rather than pretending to be like Rockstar playing these things on Guitar Hero, which is something that like I did like 7 years ago and was fun. But it's like, why would I've done it. Like, what's the new thing that's gonna get me in? It's like, oh, you could play chords and stuff now or whatever. It's like, yeah, well, I'll play guitar then. Like, I quite liked the idea of it before, and like I really was waiting when Guitar Hero was done. I was like, oh, this would be great when you could do it with other instruments. And that's what Rock Band was, and I did that, and I did it to death. And like the only thing I ever kept playing with Rock Band was the drum bits. That's the only bit I found fun. At the end, just drumming along. And it's all right for karaoke stuff if you got some mates or whatever, or you're just doing it for a laugh. But yeah, I don't know. But then again, it's like sometimes the track listing, if they've got some really good, not so much Guitar Hero. I'm just not going to get Guitar Hero, to be brutally honest. If I was going to get one, it'll be Rock Band. And then if I'd only do it if they had some really good tracks. Like, I spent a lot of money. I must have spent a good well over 100 quid at least.
Wow.
Just on song packs and songs and stuff like that, like extra stuff from the store. Like my PS3, I had to. Funny enough, I realized I didn't have any space on my PS3 to download some games for gold stuff, whatever. And it was basically all full of fucking Rock Band songs, pretty much. So I had to delete all those because each one is like a gig or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, so I've got rid of that. And yeah, to make me want to go and do that again, not sure. Have to be either really good track listing. I'm actually like, fuck, that'd be really cool just to play, or it have to be something a bit different. And I don't think it's going to have either.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. So let's move on. Ubisoft.
Yes. Well, Assassin's Creed. So talks about that.
Interesting. Oh, no, Ubisoft, what I'm talking about. I'll stow that comment for later. So Assassin's Creed Syndicate, we just discussed. I'm going to play it. I think the London theme kind of guarantees it, but I just hope it's not terrible. I just really hope it's not terrible, because ultimately, to get through one of those games, it's a it's a 30, 40, 50-hour game basically to get through it and do it. And it, I just hope they kind of dial back on the DLC, on the microtransactions, on the collecting fetch quest bullshit, and then actually try and focus on the game.
And it sounds like they have done. So
they've definitely cut the multiplayer element of it and the co-op. Or actually, no, was it just the co-op but not the multiplayer? But either way, that does sort of say that they may be concentrating on something that's the kind of along the right lines. I just hope it's not too little too late or something along those lines. So yeah, there's that. The Division is obviously a 2016 game, but presumably they're going to show something of that, because nothing's been shown in a while. That's one of my games I've got, along with No Man's Sky, that I'm kind of super psyched about. I know it's not this year, but I think that's got a lot of potential. That could be really, really cool. Yeah, and then Rainbow Six Siege. I imagine they're going to show more about that.
Yeah, I know Bubba, if he was still with us.
He's not dead.
He's not dead, but if he was still in this conversation, yeah, I know he was really excited about that. I'm more excited about the Division, and I'm not even excited. I just want to see more. Just show me something. Yeah. No, he's dead. Yeah, so we'll see in terms of that.
Yeah, and then so moving on from Ubisoft to Square Enix. So I would imagine Final Fantasy 15, given that they've just had that demo out, and they went to the lengths of patching the demo and actually changing some of the mechanics and the enemies you fight.
Yeah, I had that.
So
I've heard they're not going to show Final Fantasy 15.
are they not?
That's
Oh,
what
right.
I've heard. I've heard they're not, but I think that's really weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I haven't actually gone through. I played sort of an hour of it, of the episode Duscae demo, and yeah, it is good. It's completely bonkers. So it'd be interesting to see more. But you know, are they going to demo more? Who knows? But have they got enough to fill out a whole press conference with only 3 games? I don't know. So Just Cause 3, you would imagine, is going to come out. Having played 2, I don't know if I'm interested anymore because it was just so big and such hard work that, you know,
Yeah, I was never into the Just Causes.
the fun that you could have in number 1 with the grapple hook and, you know, parachuting and the endless kind of play loop of that was, you know, it's good fun, but ultimately it was just spread out over such kind of a large area. It was just so huge. It was unbelievable.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Excellent. So yeah, am I going to bother? I don't know, but they're almost certainly going to demo that. So it should be interesting. And then one of the games that I'm really kind of interested in, it would be Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Yeah, I'm all over that. The last one was fantastic. I always get the titles confused because they're all so similar in the titles. But yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we'll see. As I said, I've got to go back and do Revolution.
Human Revolution was the last one, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. You didn't play it at all?
No, I did. Do you remember? I said I got to that bit where I was in this warehouse with this boss guy, and he just kept killing me in like 2 knocks, and I was like, I couldn't like backtrack. It wouldn't let me backtrack, and I'm like, well, I'm stuck again. A broken game. Thanks.
But
I don't know. I might just start it again. But
they have announced that there is a way you can get through this game, unlike Human Revolution, where you had to kind of kill certain people.
Evolution
got certain bosses. You can get through this game like as a pacifist, basically. So you can just hide in the corner and, you know, disable people, you know, neutrally, kind of neutralize them.
People neutrally.
Neutrally, not neutrally.
You can make them disabled.
No, stop it.
That's what you said.
No, it's not what I said. Yeah, so you can do that. That's fantastic because I mean I know that in the trailers they show Adam Jensen kind of going full, giving it both barrels, you know, just using his augmentations to you know, just like can all these people and just, you know, knives and guns and barriers and all this kind of stuff, and it's all like really cool. But I think they're kind of missing the point of how a lot of like loyal Deus Ex players play the game is basically hiding in vents and just like slowly inching out and like not fighting people at all. And a lot of people do that, but they don't put that in the trailer. It'd be funny for them to have a kind of pacifist trailer available. That'd be fucking hilarious. People just kind of like take like moving an inch at a time, coming out like picking the head out of an air vent, going, "Oh shit, he saw me."
Yeah, and everyone going, "This is great. This looks amazing."
I know that's not how you play games, Sam. You just run head first into trouble. But you know,
as I said, I like the old bit of stealth. No, not just an all-out guns a blazing kind of guy. Cock out, rock out.
Cock out, rock out. So that's that. So that's Square Enix, EA. So presumably they're going to show something of Mass Effect 4. The entire plot and premise of it leaked onto some kind of subreddit for a thread.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, there was basically they're sending out some kind of some survey to do with how I can't remember who they were sending it to, but it was basically asking people, you know, it's going to be like this, it's going to be set in this world, and the protagonist is going to be it's going to be set in a different galaxy that humans are trying to colonize, and you're going to be allied with these aliens, and these aliens are doing this thing and all this kind of thing. It was laying out the plot like in really kind of detail. So you would imagine they've got all that sorted. And last year they showed basically a couple of pictures and then developers working on it. And you were like, I don't care. Well, I don't want to see. I mean, obviously, developers are great people because they're making the games, but as in, you don't, you get to E3, you want to see the games. You don't want to see like kind of behind the scenes shots of them like drawing them like a human or something. Like, grow up. Who cares?
Okay.
So yeah, that'd be good. I'd imagine they're going to show FIFA 16, presumably. Couldn't give a shit about that. Apparently, they're not going to show Titanfall 2. They've got to show more on EA Access, presumably. And then the biggest two games, probably of the whole E3, Star Wars Battlefront, which is kind of Call of Duty's big competitor this year, or I suppose along with Halo and Destiny. But you know, because it hasn't been around for several years, people are going to lose their minds over Star Wars Battlefront. They've already announced like the DLC and everything like this. So I mean, I'm kind of getting a little bit annoyed about it already.
Yeah. I think it'll be good, man.
Yeah, I mean, it has been entertaining, but they have pared it back from, I think, whatever the last one was Battlefront 2. So there's no more space battles and that kind of thing. That's kind of that's kind of not part of the game anymore. And then the other game that is going to send me off the edge is Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
So hopefully that is hopefully they've resisted the temptation to put more guns in it. Hopefully it's less guns, because near the end of Mirror's Edge 1, that kind of got a bit FPS-ish, didn't it?
I never completed it. I only did the first
yeah, you started having to use guns to get past people, and it was a bit unnecessary, really. But yeah, if they show some of that, that would be fantastic. Yeah, and that is E3.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a few other bits which I wrote down, which I'm quite interested about. I mean, I was wondering as well, like, who would announce this in terms of, well, they've said that Dark Souls 3 has been hinted at.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe that's a Sony thing. I'm
Sorry.
just trying to think of what will kind of feel.
So for others, you know, I've got under another category. You've got Lego Dimensions, which is a big thing that's going to be pushed. You've got Batman, but I couldn't care less about that now.
I'm excited about that.
And you've got Metal Gear Solid 5,
which I'm really excited about. Oh, mate, I can't wait.
But I'm not that interested in having played that Ground Zeroes demo. I've realised it's not for me. I don't think. It's just too weird. Like, there's too much backstory that means everything to the universe, but there's no way of penetrating it because it's so fucking complicated. It's like
you can penetrate anything if you try hard enough.
That's your motto. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm bothered by that.
Oh, mate, okay, yeah. I mean, Metal Gear 5, just literally going to be having a finger in my bum thinking about. Need for Speed as well, I think, is going to be... I'm quite looking forward to, because it's apparently supposed to be. I don't like the sophisticated racing games.
No?
Well, I don't mind them, but like sometimes I'm just like, I just want to put my foot down and just really fucking go for it. And Need for Speeds and like the burnouts and all that stuff really do it for me. And I do enjoy playing the Need for Speed, so I think I'm quite looking forward to that, just to see what that is. So what else? Also, do you think that Telltale will reveal a new Walking Dead?
That's a good point. I've no idea, actually. I mean, they're being pulled 7 ways from Sunday with Game of Thrones and now Minecraft and all this. And there's, I mean, what's up first, Walking Dead or House of Wolves, Wolf Among Us? Like, which one's first in that?
Only because Walking Dead is their main thing. I think it's about time, because I think was it like a year and a half ago that they've started Walking Dead Series 2, and probably about a year ago now they finished, right? So yeah, so I think it'd be cool if they announced like a third series. But I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. That would be quite a cool thing. Also, Capcom said about Resident Evil 0, they're re-releasing in HD. I never actually did it. Sai did it on GameCube when it came out, and he really liked it. So I'm actually quite interested. I might actually play that. Which, if you don't know, or if no one knows, it's a prequel to the first Resident Evil, where you play a boy and a girl, like some guy called Billy or something that's just broken out of jail, and this woman, and it was the first one in that series, I think, or maybe not, but like where you could switch characters. Yeah, so that, I mean, that's quite cool. Which is obviously what Revelations has done in quite recently, which I've still got to play actually. Fuck. But yeah, would you reckon they'll announce like a Resident Evil 7?
I have no idea about those series, so.
Well, Resident Evil 6 was quite a while ago now. And I think it would, if they did, but then it's like they've just done Resident Evil 0, Revelations 2 has just finished. Like, is it too soon for Resident Evil 7? It'd be fucking cool though. I reckon if they did it and they did it properly and well and learned from 6, you know, it could really be a bit of a game changer. Well, for me anyway. Other things as well. There's Homefront 2, which has, I think, been announced that they're going to show. And I really like the first Homefront. Did you ever play it?
No, I didn't. Is that the one where Korea invades the States or something?
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, you're playing like the American Resistance. And I mean, it's just a simple like third-person shooter. There's nothing like particularly incredible, but it's just a really good, solid, enjoyable game with some quite cool set pieces.
Wasn't there development problems with that? There was like, didn't the developer go, or the publisher go bankrupt, and then it was bought out by, then it was the actual IP and the team were bought out by another company, but they've still retained the right to they're a British team, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
They're still working on it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I don't know. I'm just excited to see what that might be, because I did enjoy the first one, and it was one of those like little. I don't know if it was underrated, but kind of would easily slip through a lot of people's lists, and I think it was quite a decent game. There's a Mad Max game which I've heard differing things about, and I'd be interested to see what that's actually like. But yeah, apparently it's like an open world game. It's you and your car and some dude driving your car or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what that is. And also some people are saying, and I don't know if it's true or not, but like that Zelda won't be there for Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo they've
pushed the.
They've stopped doing a presentation now. They just do like a digital thing, which just pumps out the games and things. But
yeah, they do their whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called now, but Access or something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of EA Access, whatever it is. But they, to not have anything. Well, apparently they're just not going to have anything about Zelda, which I find quite strange. And people are now saying that maybe it's not even going to be for the Wii U anymore. It'll be for this NX thing. And if they do that, that's so fucking such a dicky move.
Well, it means that nothing's really happened on the Wii U.
No, I mean, everyone keeps banging on about Splatoon, and it's like, I haven't played it. I'm not going to play it. It looks a bit shit. You know, I don't know. It's pure gameplay kind of thing, I suppose, which is Nintendo's whole thing. But I mean, I'm looking at my Wii U now, and I'm like, fuck. Like, I played a lot of it when I first got it, and I did all like Super Smash and Mario Kart and all that stuff. And I've got Bayonetta 1 and 2, which I will do, and I'm actually looking forward to playing, and some other bits and pieces. But generally speaking, it's like, once I've done those, that's it. Like, what else am I going to do? Nothing is the answer. But you know, I was thinking, because I've never done any of the Zeldas, so I was thinking, oh, it'd be a really like cool thing to get this Zelda for the Wii U and play that as my first Zelda, then maybe work my way backwards or something like that. But yeah, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it for E3 stuff. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that is it. Okay,
well, let's go to questions. So I've got a couple of questions here from Rich Keeble of Elephant and Castle. He's he goes, "Hi guys, big fan of the show." He's asked us to check out his Vine as well, which is Rich Keeble, Keble, which apparently is supposed to be quite funny.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Hi guys, big fan of the show. I know E3 is coming up, and I'm really excited about it. I was just wondering, what would be your most exciting surprise for E3? So yeah, what would you look forward to then, Ben? What would be announced at E3 that's a complete surprise that would, you know, really get your gears going?
Oh, complete surprise. No idea. I mean, I think if they've got a game that is going to be definitely working with Morpheus, that would be something. I mean, it's not going to happen because Morpheus doesn't come out till next year, I suppose. But if something like No Man's Sky works with Morpheus, then that would probably break me. That could be really interesting.
That's a good one.
Because that kind of world would be really kind of immersive, I would imagine, if you had the old VR on. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it feels like we know a lot of the things, although Microsoft are teasing surprises, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be something you're going to be interested in. And same thing with Sony, like, as in they can't just have what we think they've got. There must be more.
Yeah, like Watch Dogs 2, maybe.
Oh, yeah, but that's not going to be a Sony exclusive thing.
No, it won't be, but I don't know.
And also, who cares, because it was rubbish.
I don't mind it. Like, you know, there were some really great aspects of that game. Okay, anyway, but I think it'd be, for me, it would be, it won't happen at E3, well, maybe, but like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that would be fucking cool.
Okay. Or is there likely to be a sequel to Bully?
Yeah, I mean, I never played Bully, as we've established, so you know, I wouldn't really care if they said it. I'd be like, all right, great, I think I should play the first one. But yeah, if it was a Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that, then that would really make me like sit up and pay attention. Yeah, so that'd be it. So that's Rich. He's also just followed. We've got another follow-up question here. Just going. He said, "I'm really excited about what Nintendo has to offer." Typical Rich. But what would be, out of the things that have been announced, what are you most excited for?
Me first. You first. You first.
Me first. I mean, it's going to sound annoying, but probably Metal Gear Solid 5.
Really? Wow. What above everything else?
Yeah, mate, I'm a massive Metal Gear fan.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't have to. I just really fucking enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would probably be that. What about you?
No Man's Sky, I think, is the number one for me. And then
over Halo 5. So if I had No Man's Sky in one hand and Halo 5 in the other, you choose No Man's Sky?
At the moment, yeah.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I would.
Fucking hell. All right, whatever, fine.
And then I suppose Deus Ex would be number 2, I think.
Okay.
Or I mean, Mass Effect 4 isn't coming out this year, is it? So I mean, I'm trying to limit my thoughts to something that could potentially come out this year. Mass Effect 4 is definitely a 16 game, isn't it? So, well, unless that's a surprise, in which case the world will melt. Yeah, I think Last Guardian, obviously, but I mean, there's no point in getting yourself excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, every year it's just a fucking disappointment. It's not there. Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
So hop on over to thewildboar.com, BORE.com, to check out stuff. There's always stuff on there. Have a look at some of that stuff. You can follow us on Twitter at thewildboaruk, BORE, remember. You can email us, thewildboartv@gmail.com. Remember, all that is BORE, boar, as in boredom. Yeah, that's it. And hopefully I'll see you again next week. There'll be an episode of Soggy Popcorn coming up soon as well, for anyone who listens to that. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. And for any of those going to E3, I hate you. I look forward to hearing what is going on over there. Okay, so see ya.
See ya.